son's wedding day, Temba was asked to make a speech as father of the bride. He stood up and he said, "No refunds, no exchanges on sale items." Good evening and welcome to Talk with Rams Live. It is Opportunity Tuesday, that day that excites me a lot. But I'm going to tell you this. We meet amazing people on Tuesdays. We meet people who are doing great stuff, people who are uplifting others, people who are building their own businesses, and that's why it gets me excited. As I've said before, Opportunity Tuesday is why we exist. And tonight's guest is no different. In fact, so great is his work that we even put aside the quickie interview and we dedicated the whole entire show to our guest tonight. However, I have to say that Lekau Sihwana is naughty. After confirming yesterday that he's going to join the show with us, we have battled all day to get hold of him and get all the information needed for this interview. I literally just got the information 5 minutes ago, which is why we're starting slightly late. I've decided to give this feedback publicly because I want to build Lekau. This is not to destroy him. I want him to be better. And I hope he takes it from where it comes, because he's a good man doing amazing work. So please participate by asking questions or commenting on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, or WhatsApp voice note 067027182339. Now then, let me tell you a bit about this man. Or at least about the business, not the man only, but the business, because it's amazing business of this man. I'm just fascinated by the business. The Drip is called Drip Footwear, founded by Lekau Sihwana. The idea kicked when he was just 14 years of age. Guys, some of us at 14 had not even begun to think about, how to press the remote control. He had no shoes to wear himself and used a torn sneaker sole to create his own sneaker using denim as the primary material. People started to gain interest in the sneaker and began placing orders for them. After 26 years of making handmade sneakers, he decided to go mainstream with the sneaker making business. And this is how the Drip was born, rebranded and revolutionized in his own ways. It took at least a year to launch the business after making several sneakers, testing designs and marketing strategies. Drip Footwear was launched in 2019 July with 600 sneakers using their online store and social media platforms such as Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and WhatsApp to market and present the brand. The sneakers were sold out within 6 weeks. I want to repeat that. Within 6 weeks, this new sneaker created by this man was sold out 6 weeks after the launch. More colors were added to the design and minor improvements were made, such as the sole and the visible branding. He currently employs 3 people who mainly deal with sales, operations, and deliveries, looking forward to growing his team. And he's in the process of moving to a warehouse in Midrand to centralize the business and create unique customer experience. And we met this man today and we're celebrating. Lekau Sihwana, Tobe.
About that, Tobela.
Are you good, my brother?
I'm 100%. And how are you?
You see, you are one of those people who repeat this thing that any challenge is a great opportunity.
Yeah.
Because we could have cried. We could have gone to stand on the streets and ask for sneakers, and hope for another pair next year and another pair the following year. But you decided to solve your own problem. Yeah. But it can't be easy, my brother. I know you make it look easy to make sneakers. It can't be bloody easy. Where does it come from? What happened in that head of yours to be able to put something together? It's a shoe.
This head is like backstage in Johannesburg. It's very busy. It's very, very busy, I hardly sleep, ideas keep on flowing. I always call my team, whatever time it is that ideas come, marketing and everything. So What is happening in my head is just entrepreneurship, just trying to get at a better economical position, trying to solve problems for my families, trying to run away from poverty and come and bringing in as many people as I can. So that is what is happening in my head. Yeah.
Okay, let's take a journey back a little bit. Then we'll get to the business. Then we'll get to this opportunity that you have for other people, which is also amazing. Who are you? Where do you come from? Where were you born? A little bit about your past.
Like I was born in Mankweng Hospital in Limpopo. And yeah, I was born in Mankweng Hospital and in 1988, September the 20th. And 2 years later, after I was born, my parents divorced. I think that is the beginning after the beginning, of everything else. Because the divorce forced my mom to actually move from Polokwane, from being a housewife to now being independent and take care of her kids. So she moved to a township called Alexandra here in Johannesburg in 1990. And after, all the struggles in Alexandra to find, formal settlement, she couldn't. And now she moved to Ivory Park. Ivory Park is where I grew up, the much more time of my life. I spent it in Ivory Park. So, yeah, I'm from Ivory Park. It's just next to Tembisa in Midrand. And went to preschool there, graduated there, went to primary and secondary school in Ivory Park. So my upbringing was very hard, like many other South Africans, very, very hard. My mom was raising 4 kids. I was the third one. I'm the third one, raising 4 kids and unemployed, no formal education. And that created us to be very independent at an early age. So at around 10 years, I could actually sew. So my grandmother taught me how to sew. When you come back from school and your clothes are torn, would say, okay, so you take a needle and start sewing, That was her teaching us independence. So, yeah, I became very independent at an early age. So in primary school, I was just a normal child. I didn't know we were poor because that was what I knew. That was very normal to me. Only when I started going to a high school, in grade 8, and I realized kids there go to school wearing labeled clothing. They had SKLs. They were different. They had money. There was a tech shop at high school. Primary school, there's just those who sell the Zamba. Now in high school, guys drink the cold drinks, quarters, they buy shisanyamas. Now I realized, okay, actually, I don't have much. So that was when I started to be conscious about the situation at home. So yes, I grew up in that township, very, very, very poor. And in 2003, I was doing my grade 8 at Equiniswini Secondary School in Ivory Park. And one of those days, the school just asked us to come wearing our home clothes. That is one of the most worst thing I've ever went through, because I don't have much. I don't have clothes. Now you're telling me to come to this place that put pressure on us young people, to come wearing our private clothes. So from that day, I started, taking old torn denims and started sewing them, and I was like, okay, if I didn't just create something that is going to be unique, because I don't have money to buy the Nikes, the Adidas of this world. Let me just create something that is going to be unique. And I'm going to grab attention because I don't have those labels that people get attention from. So I designed my own shoes, my own jeans, my own top, my own cap, my own backpack. So I went to school wearing denim that day. Everyone was crazy about the designs, So I became creative about it. I studied all the great designers, I read magazines. How can I create an outfit? So everything was created using my hands and needle. And using a denim jeans. So when I went to school, people loved my outfit, but they loved the shoes more, because I actually took an old Adidas sneaker and I put denim there. So they loved the shoes. So they started ordering the shoes, So that is how I actually started, and that is how I became conscious, about my upbringing, and that is how the talent actually started.
Brilliant. I mean, what she taught you, very important. Sometimes you thought she was not being kind to you by making you work. And she was preparing you for the greater things in life. Look at it now. So you start doing this at school, people are starting to order. At that time, are you thinking this could be my business?
Not at all. Not at all. I always say that, me designing my first shoe was not from an entrepreneurial, a mindset or something. It was just clear poverty. It was just clear a lack of shoes, that created the talent. So I wasn't thinking business. I wasn't thinking anything. I was just thinking, well, okay, fine. I just want to go to school and look different,
Yes.
So that was, the whole idea back then.
But as they start showing interest, you start thinking, maybe there's something going on here.
Yes. So after they started showing interest, I started, making them and selling them, and I actually made good money, 100 rand, 150, and that was good money back in 2003 up until I was in matric. So I was now known as that guy who was very unique. I actually had a mohawk back in the day because I was inspired by Diesel. The Diesel logo has a mohawk. So I used to call it the Diesel cut. It wasn't even popular back then, but I had it because I wanted to be different, So throughout my high school life, I was that guy who designs clothes. I wanted to go to fashion schools. I was reading, fashion magazines. I was that fashionable guy at school.
Wow. So officially then in 2019, you look, that was the launch, but you probably decided before then that this is my business.
Yeah, I did. I think the best years of my life were actually in high school, because I was free. I didn't care about the commercial side of the business. I was just sitting at home on my bed, I'm asking for denim jeans so that I can cut them and create shoes. I was being creative. I was free. I just wanted that 100 rands or 150, So as soon as I was in matric, I actually stopped, designing because I had to focus in school and in class. So even after matric, I didn't go back. So now because I was in the real world, people were some of my friends were now driving cars. I was like, okay, fine. I'm not going to buy cars with, sewing shoes and clothing. I now had to,
What a big mistake.
Yeah.
You can buy millions of cars now because you're doing what is about you. I did a little piece advising matriculants last week. And I said to them, it's very important to go get good grades, but don't lose who you are. If you're a great swimmer, that could be where your money is going to come from. If you're a great footballer. So that's who you are. You're a designer of sneakers. It's great to, look out, it's nice. All of us are the distinction that's more front pages are waiting. But the truth is, that's not who we all are. Some of us are great designers of sneakers.
Yeah, true that. And the most funny part is that I failed my matric in actual fact, because we were going through so much in my family, I failed 2 subjects. 2008, I had to go back and rewrite my subjects. Past one, now I had my matric, So I wasn't one of the, brightest kids in school whereby I had distinctions. I was just a normal kid who was going through so much at an early age, So, and after that, I started, doing PT jobs and everything. But the most beautiful thing as well is that I started to try and follow business. So I wanted to go into business because the people who were around me understood entrepreneurship. So I registered cleaning companies. I've done so many things.
But that's crazy. You see, I don't understand. Here's a guy who at school starts a business. He did not know he started a business. Yeah. Then after matric, he says he's trying to get into business. But you're already in business. All you have to do is to go back at what you used to do.
I actually didn't see that, I was at Rema Church, I used to attend a Rema Bible Church, and we met so many fashionable people there, who could tell this dress was made by a designer. But I looked at that life and there was no internet then. And I was like, you know what? This thing is going to get me far, but very slow. And in my life, I was in poverty, so I couldn't get something that was going to take me to my destination very long. I wanted a quick fix, something that can actually make me rich now or make me money now, so that I can provide at home. That's why I started businesses that were, I wanted to clean houses. I recruited my friends, those type of things. The fashion one always followed me. Even now, they copy my fashion wherever I go, my high school friends, because they know and understand the type of person that I am. But I didn't see it as a business. I just looked at it as an escape from poverty. That's it. I wanted big money.
I'm going to use this interview for a long time coming. I'm going to use this interview to illustrate how our education is bad. Because if at school they taught you entrepreneurship, you would have known the day you made 600 sneakers and people bought 600 sneakers that something is going on here. Or even at school, even if there was 3 pairs, you would have known at that moment that I'm doing something right. You must read a story of a guy called Alan Sugar. He's the guy who at some point bought a club called Tottenham Hotspur. He started fixing television sets and radio sets and buying and picking up aerials on the streets and fixing this thing. He's one of the biggest IT suppliers in the world as we speak, because he found it at school that this is my business. And somebody said, don't leave that business. I'm glad, I'm going to say this, it's a very controversial thing. I'm glad you did not get A's at school, because you could have ended up doing something that is not you.
Yeah, true that.
I'm glad that for some reason, let's call it God, that you did not get those A's so that you can actually focus on your purpose. I mean, that which you've created, my brother, is something else. I look at the pictures of the thing that you've done, and it's just amazing work. I mean, now you employ other people. But let's talk about the name, the Drip. Why? Where does it come from?
Drip comes from social media. It comes from us. When you go to Braamfontein, you go to Hatfield, young people at universities talk about drip. I'm dripping, Drip means highly fashionable. And in recent times, we have seen corporate companies actually use the ways that we actually come up with from social media and on their adverts, And I actually look at that trend and say, okay, fine, these guys are sitting in their offices with their agencies and they are checking us on what do we actually tweet about. And they take all those names and they make them commercial and they make money out of them, all these slangs. And I was like, okay, fine. When I was I'm developing Drip, I was designing, I was like, okay, fine, I'm going back into making sneakers. I struggled so much with the name, but I knew that I needed a short name, 4 letters only. So, but I looked around and I was like to my friends, you know what? I think the word drip can actually do it because it's already in the fashion sense. It already means someone is highly fashionable, but it also means something from the hospital, it means a drip from the hospital, So I'd have to work twice as hard to change the narrative of the hospital drip to the sneaker drip, So they were like, no, don't use it. No, don't use the word drip. I was like, okay, but it's short, it's nice, So that is how the name actually came about. When people said, no, don't use it, I was like, okay, fine. I'm actually going to prove you wrong that the name is actually going to work. It's going to be one of the best names you will ever hear on a sneaker. So these are the names that we always use on social media, that you are now I'm trademarking, that you are now going to commercialize and use, because these are our trends that we come up with and we never make money out of. So Drip is just a social media thingy.
So what is the relationship between the sneaker you make today and the first sneaker you made the day they told you to come with social clothes at school? Is it still the same trend?
If only I knew back then that I was gonna go into sneakers, I'm full blown and employ people, I was gonna keep that sneaker, But I always ask my mom to always check it at home because I know it's somewhere there. So the only relationship that these two sneakers have is that at some point in my life I looked back and said, let me go back and actually redo what I did back there. But right now, I'm going to do it in a much more commercial way, and involve other people, employ people, do it at a larger scale, at the scale of Nike, what they actually do, follow the systems, create our own trends as well. So the only relationship is that it was created by the very same person, but at a later stage of life, and at a different scale as well.
Who's your target audience? Who's this ideal person? When you sit, then you create. Who's this ideal market?
Batubakasi, and I'm gonna tell you why. When I designed the sneaker, I had myself in mind. I am a customer of Drip. Kitoko Ivory Park in an informal settlement. I never wear expensive clothes here, but always, all the time, my shoes are always expensive. You know what I mean? So I was like, okay, fine. Let me just create something that Batubakasi can afford. and it looks beautiful, and it's created by one of them. So I also call the sneakers the township dream. So I always go back and say, this is a footprint of hope. This was created by someone from Kokasi, someone that you know, someone that you can relate to. Our offices are just, 5 minutes away from my township, and I'm accessible to them. They know me. They know me from that shack. I just recently bought my mom a house. So they know that this guy just moved out right now from the hood. You know what I mean? So these are the footprints of hope. So the customers are people from Kokasi who understand our struggles, Kokasi. Everyone from Kasi is our customer.
And then, of course, typical of people like you who have gone through tough times and pulled themselves through, you are always thinking of pulling others through with you. You've got a campaign going currently. Tell us about this campaign of local clothing designers that you're calling on.